What's up, football fans? Before we dive into the story of one of the most dominant forces in World Cup history, smash that subscribe button and hit the bell icon. Because you're about to witness the journey of a machine, a nation that's won 4 World Cups, reached 8 finals, and given us some of the most ruthless, efficient, and occasionally heartbreaking moments in football history. This is the story of Germany, the story of a football machine that's been to more finals than any other nation. The story of the Miracle of Bern, the 7-1 humiliation of Brazil, the penalty shootout masters, and the shocking 2018 disaster that stunned the world. From Fritz Walter to Franz Beckenbauer, from Gerd Müller to Miroslav Klose, from Lothar Matthäus to Manuel Neuer, Germany has produced legends. They've been crowned world champions 4 times, finished runners-up 4 times, and have the most consistent World Cup record of any nation in history. Stick around till the end because this story has everything. Miracle comebacks, tactical dominance, penalty shootout perfection, the greatest semi-final ever played, and a defending champion crash that nobody saw coming. And if you love World Cup content, check out our other videos covering every single team at the 2026 World Cup. Trust me, you don't want to miss this one. Let's get into it. Let's start at the very beginning. But here's the thing about Germany's World Cup story. They weren't there at the start. The inaugural 1930 World Cup in Uruguay, Germany didn't participate. They were invited, but they didn't go. Travel was expensive, the tournament was far away, and frankly, they didn't think it was worth it. Big mistake. Because while they stayed home, Uruguay was crowning the first ever World Cup champion, and Germany missed out on being part of football history from day one. But they showed up in 1934 for the second World Cup, hosted by Italy, and immediately you could see the German mentality emerging. They weren't the most skilled team, they weren't the most creative, but they were organised, disciplined, and relentless. In their very first World Cup match, Germany faced Belgium and won 5-2. They were through. In the quarterfinals, they faced Sweden and won 2-1. They were in the semi-finals. And then they ran into Czechoslovakia. The Czechs were good. Really good. The match went to extra time and Czechoslovakia scored. Germany was eliminated in the semi-finals in their very first tournament. 3rd place. Not bad for a debut, but the Germans don't do not bad. They do trophies. 4 years later in 1938, France hosted the World Cup. But something dark was happening in Germany. The Nazi regime was in power and politics was infecting football. The German team was now representing a regime that the world was starting to fear. They faced Switzerland in the first round and were eliminated 4-2 after a replay. It was embarrassing. It was a disaster. And then the world went to war. World War II stopped everything. The 1942 and 1946 World Cups were cancelled. And when the dust settled, when the war was over, Germany was a nation in ruins, divided, destroyed, and banned from international football. They missed the 1950 World Cup entirely, not because they didn't qualify, but because they weren't allowed to compete. This was Germany's lowest point, rock bottom. But here's what you need to understand about German football. They don't stay down for long. Switzerland 1954, West Germany, now split from East Germany, was back. They'd been allowed back into FIFA, and they were ready to show the world that German football was alive. But nobody expected what was about to happen. The tournament favourites were Hungary, the magical Magyars. And they weren't just favourites, they were dominant. They'd gone 4 years without losing a match. They had Ferenc Puskás, one of the greatest players ever. They'd beaten England 6-3 at Wembley, then 7-1 in Budapest. They were unstoppable. And in the group stage, Germany faced them. Hungary destroyed them, 8-3. It wasn't even close. Germany was humiliated. The message was clear. Hungary was going to win this tournament and nobody could stop them. But here's where German football tactics started to show their genius. The German coach, Sepp Herberger, had actually rested several of his best players in that group stage match. He accepted the loss because he knew they could still advance. He was playing the long game. Tactical genius or crazy risk, time would tell. Germany battled through the knockout rounds. They beat Yugoslavia 2-0 in the quarterfinals. Then came the semi-final against Austria, a team they'd been forbidden from playing during the war years because of politics. The match was emotional, tense, and brutal. Germany won 6-1. They were in the final. And guess who was waiting for them? Hungary. The team that had destroyed them 8-3 just 2 weeks earlier. The invincible, magical Magyars. This was supposed to be a coronation for Hungary, not a competitive final. July 4th, 1954. Wankdorf Stadium, Bern, Switzerland. West Germany versus Hungary. The final. It was raining. The pitch was soaking. And Hungary came out like they were going to finish what they started in the group stage. Within 8 minutes, Hungary was up 2-0. Puskás scored, Tibor scored. It looked over. Another Hungarian demolition job. But then something happened. Something nobody expected. Germany scored, then they scored again. 2-2 at half-time. The invincible Hungarians were rattled. The second half was tense. Both teams had chances. But in the 84th minute, with just 6 minutes left in the match, German winger Helmut Rahn received the ball on the edge of the box, took one touch and smashed it into the corner. Goal. Germany 3-2 Hungary. Hungary threw everything at them in the final minutes. They thought they'd scored an equaliser, but it was ruled offside. Puskás was furious. To this day, Hungarians argue it was a good goal. But the referee's decision stood. Final whistle. West Germany 3, Hungary 2. The Miracle of Bern. Against all odds, against the greatest team in the world, Germany had won their first World Cup. A nation that had been destroyed by war, divided, and banned from football just 4 years earlier, was now world champion. The emotional impact in Germany was massive. This wasn't just a football match. This was a nation finding its identity again after the trauma of war. The Miracle of Bern gave West Germany something to be proud of again. It was the beginning of German football dominance. After the miracle of 1954, expectations were high for Germany in 1958 in Sweden. They had the defending champions tag, and the world was watching. But football has a way of humbling everyone. Germany cruised through their group, looking solid. In the quarterfinals, they faced Yugoslavia and won 1-0. They were in the semifinals for the third consecutive tournament they'd attended. But then they ran into the host nation, Sweden, and Sweden was inspired. They beat Germany 3-1, and Germany finished fourth after losing the third-place match to France 6-3. Still respectable, but nowhere near the glory of 1954. 4 years later, in Chile 1962, Germany was back. They topped their group again. The Germans are always solid in the group stage. But in the quarterfinals, they faced Yugoslavia again. And this time, Yugoslavia got their revenge, winning 1-0. Germany was out in the quarters. The 1954 Miracle team was ageing. The heroes of Bern were retiring. A new generation needed to emerge. And boy, were they about to get one. England 1966. And this tournament would produce one of the most controversial finals in World Cup history. Germany, still West Germany at this point, arrived in England with a new generation. Young, hungry, and talented. They topped their group with wins over Switzerland, Argentina, and Spain. In the quarterfinals, they demolished Uruguay 4-0. In the semi-finals, they faced the Soviet Union. It was 1-1 at full time, 2-1 after extra time. Germany was in the final, their second final in 4 tournaments, and they'd be playing the host nation, England, at Wembley, in front of 100,000 English fans. This was England's moment, their chance to win on home soil. But Germany doesn't care about your fairy tales. July 30th, 1966. Wembley Stadium, London. England versus West Germany. The final. And it would become one of the most famous matches in football history, for all the wrong reasons if you're German. Germany took an early lead through Helmut Haller in the 12th minute. But England equalised through Jeff Hurst, then England took the lead through Martin Peters, with just 12 minutes left. Germany was down. But this is where German mentality shines. They never give up. In the 89th minute, with literally seconds left, Wolfgang Weber scored to make it 2-2. Germany had forced extra time in a World Cup final at Wembley. The English dreams were crumbling. But then came that moment, the most controversial goal in World Cup history. In the 101st minute, Jeff Hurst received the ball, turned and smashed a shot that hit the crossbar and bounced down. Did it cross the line? The referee wasn't sure, so he consulted his linesman. After what felt like an eternity, the linesman said, "Yes, goal." The Germans were furious. They were certain the ball hadn't crossed the line. Replays showed it was incredibly close. Most modern analysis suggests it didn't fully cross the line. But there was no VAR in 1966. The goal stood. England 3-2 Germany in extra time. And then in the final seconds, Hurst scored again to complete his hat-trick. The only player to score 3 goals in a World Cup final. Final score: England 4, West Germany 2. England were world champions. Germany were devastated. To this day, Germans argue about that third goal. Wembley Tour. The Wembley goal. It's become part of German football mythology. The goal that shouldn't have counted. The controversial decision that cost them a second title. But here's the thing about Germany. Setbacks only make them stronger. Mexico, 1970. And this tournament would produce what many call the greatest World Cup match ever played. Germany had a stacked squad. Franz Beckenbauer. The Kaiser was in his prime. Gerd Müller, der Bomber, was the deadliest striker on the planet. They were ready. Germany topped their group with wins over Morocco, Bulgaria and Peru. In the quarterfinals, they faced England in a rematch of the 1966 final. And this time, Germany got their revenge. They were down 2-0 at halftime, but they fought back. Franz Beckenbauer played with a dislocated shoulder in extra time, his arm in a sling, because substitutions had already been used. Pure warrior mentality. Germany won 3-2 in extra time. Revenge for 1966. Sweet, sweet revenge. And that set up a semi-final that would go down in history. West Germany versus Italy. June 17th, 1970. Estadio Azteca, Mexico City. What happened next was insane. For 90 minutes, it was a tight tactical battle. Germany took an early lead through Roberto Boninsegna in the 8th minute. Wait, I meant Italy took the lead. Boninsegna scored for Italy. Germany battled and battled. And finally, in the 90th plus second minute, Karl-Heinz Schnellinger scored to make it 1-1, extra time. And then the game went crazy. Gerd Müller scored in the 94th minute, 2-1, Germany. But Tarcisio Bergnick scored just 4 minutes later, 2-2. Then Gigi Riva scored in the 104th minute, 3-2 Italy. But Müller scored again in the 110th minute, 3-3. Then Gianni Rivera scored in the 111th minute, 4-3 Italy. 5 goals in extra time. This match had everything. It's called the Game of the Century, for a reason. But Germany lost. They were out. Italy went to the final and won. Germany went home devastated despite playing one of the greatest matches ever. 3rd place again after beating Uruguay. But this team had shown something special. They'd be back. West Germany, 1974. Home soil. The Kaiser Franz Beckenbauer leading the team. Gerd Müller still scoring goals for fun. This was Germany's tournament. This was their moment. But the tournament started with disaster. In the group stage, Germany faced East Germany. West versus East. Capitalism versus communism. The divided nation facing itself. And East Germany won 1-0. It was embarrassing. Humiliating. The only time the two Germanys ever played each other. And the West lost on their own soil. But Germany regrouped. They made it through the group stage, and in the second group stage, the 1974 format was weird. They destroyed Yugoslavia 2-0, beat Sweden 4-2, and crushed Poland 1-0 to reach the final. Their opponents? The Netherlands, the team playing total football, the team with Johan Cruyff, one of the greatest players ever, the team that was revolutionising how football was played. This was the beautiful, creative, attacking Dutch against the organised, efficient, tactical Germans. Art versus machine. July 7th, 1974. Olympiastadion, Munich. West Germany versus Netherlands. The final. And the Dutch started like they were going to embarrass Germany on their own soil. They kept the ball for over a minute from kickoff, passing it around, taunting Germany. Then Cruyff was fouled in the box. Penalty to Netherlands. Johan Neeskens scored. Germany was down 1-0 in the World Cup final at home without even touching the ball. But if you've learned anything about German football by now, it's this. They don't panic. They don't crumble. They adapt. They fight back. Germany got a penalty of their own. Paul Breitner scored 1-1. Then, right before halftime, Gerd Müller scored what would be the winner. 2-1 Germany at the break. The second half was tense. The Dutch threw everything at them, but the German defence held firm. Final whistle. West Germany 2, Netherlands 1. World champions. At home, Franz Beckenbauer lifting the trophy. Gerd Müller scoring in another final, their second World Cup title. The machine was in full effect. And here's something special about this team. Beckenbauer would go on to win the World Cup as a manager later. He's one of only 3 men to win the World Cup as both a player and a coach, but we'll get to that later. Argentina 1978. Germany arrived as defending champions and favourites. They had a solid tournament, topping their group and advancing through the second group stage. But in the final, yes, they made another final, they faced the host nation, Argentina. And Argentina had Diego Maradona's predecessors and home advantage. Germany lost 3-1 in extra time. Third final, second loss. Spain, 1982. Germany was back. They topped their group, then faced France in one of the most dramatic semi-finals ever played, the Night of Seville. This match had everything. Controversy, goalkeeper Harold Schumacher brutally fouled French player Patrick Battiston and wasn't even booked. Goals and penalties. Germany was down 3-1 in extra time, but fought back to 3-3 and won the penalty shootout. They were in another final, July 11th, 1982, Santiago Bernabeu, Madrid. West Germany versus Italy. The final. Germany had been to the final in 1966, 1974, 1978, and now 1982. 4 finals in 5 tournaments. This was a dynasty. But Italy was inspired. Paolo Rossi was unstoppable. Italy won 3-1. Germany was runners-up again. 4 finals in 5 tournaments. 2 wins, 2 losses. Nobody had been more consistent at reaching finals than Germany. But losing was starting to hurt. Mexico, 1986. And this tournament belonged to one man, Diego Maradona. Germany had another strong tournament, reaching the final yet again. But standing in their way was Maradona's Argentina, June 29, 1986. Estadio Azteca, Mexico City. West Germany versus Argentina. The final. Germany went down 2-0. It looked over. But then Karl-Heinz Rummenigge scored. Then Rudi Völler equalised. 2-2 with just minutes left. Germany had done it again, fought back from the dead. But then Maradona played a perfect through ball to Jorge Burruchaga, who scored the winner with just 7 minutes left. Argentina 3, Germany 2. 5th final. 3rd loss. The heartbreak continued, but the Germans would have their revenge. Eventually. Italy, 1990. And the man leading Germany was Franz Beckenbauer. The Kaiser was now the manager. Germany had a mission, win it for the 3rd time and avenge the losses of 1982 and 1986. The tournament wasn't always pretty, but Germany was efficient. They won their group, beat the Netherlands 2-1 in the round of 16, revenge for 1974 in a way, and then came the semi-final. Against England. At a World Cup, the rivalry renewed. The semi-final went to penalties. And this is where Germany's penalty shootout mastery really began. Stuart Pearce and Chris Waddle missed for England. Germany won the shootout. They were through to the final. And guess who was waiting? Argentina. A rematch of 1986. July 8th, 1990. Stadio Olimpico, Rome. West Germany versus Argentina. The final. Revenge match. And this final was ugly. Argentina had 2 players sent off. It was defensive, scrappy and tense. Then in the 85th minute, Germany was awarded a penalty. Andreas Bremer stepped up and scored. 1-0 Germany. That was it. That was enough. Final whistle. West Germany 1, Argentina 0. World champions for the 3rd time. Revenge for 1986. Beckenbauer became the 2nd person, after Brazil's Mario Zagallo, to win the World Cup as both player and coach. The machine had delivered again, and this would be the last time West Germany won anything, because within a year, the Berlin Wall fell and Germany was reunified. From 1990 onward, it would just be Germany. One nation. One team. USA, 1994. The newly reunified Germany arrived at the World Cup, but something was off. They weren't the same machine. They struggled through their group, squeaked past Belgium in the round of 16, then faced Bulgaria in the quarterfinals. And Bulgaria shocked them 2-1. Germany was out in the quarters. The machine had broken down. France, 1998. Germany made it to the quarterfinals again but lost 3-0 to Croatia. Another quarterfinal exit. The dominance was fading. South Korea/Japan, 2002. But then something magical happened. Germany wasn't great in this tournament, but they found a way to win. They reached the final for the 7th time. But they faced Brazil, Ronaldo's Brazil. And Ronaldo was unstoppable. Brazil won 2-0. Germany was runners-up for the 4th time. So close, yet so far. Again, Germany, 2006. Home soil again? A young manager named Jürgen Klinsmann was rebuilding German football with modern methods. And a young team was emerging. Bastian Schweinsteiger, Philipp Lahm, and a tall commanding goalkeeper named Manuel Neuer was waiting in the wings. Germany was exciting in this tournament. They played attacking football. The German efficiency stereotype was being challenged. They topped their group, demolished Argentina 4-2 in a penalty shootout in the quarterfinals, revenge for 1986 and 1990 losses, and then faced Italy in the semifinals. July 4th, 2006. Dortmund, Germany versus Italy. The semi-final. For 90 minutes, the teams were locked 0-0. Extra time. And then Italy struck twice in the last 2 minutes of extra time. Fabio Grosso scored in the 119th minute. Alessandro Del Piero scored in the 120-plus first minute. Germany lost 2-0 in extra time. At home. The heartbreak was crushing. They beat Portugal in the third-place match, but it meant nothing. Losing at home in the semi-finals hurt. South Africa 2010, and a new generation had arrived. Thomas Müller, Mesut Özil, Sami Khedira. Young, fast, and dangerous. Managed by Joachim Löw, Germany played beautiful, attacking football. They destroyed England 4-1 in the round of 16. They demolished Argentina 4-0 in the quarterfinals. But in the semi-finals, they faced Spain, the team playing the best football on the planet. And Spain was just too good. They beat Germany 1-0, third place again after beating Uruguay. The young guns had announced themselves, but they'd fallen short. However, this team was young. Their time would come. Brazil, 2014. And everything came together. The young guns from 2010 were now in their prime. Manuel Neuer was the best goalkeeper in the world. Philipp Lahm was the captain. Bastian Schweinsteiger was the midfield general. Thomas Müller was scoring goals, and a tall, powerful striker named Miroslav Klose was chasing the all-time World Cup goal record. Germany cruised through the group stage. In the round of 16, they beat Algeria 2-1 after extra time. In the quarterfinals, they beat France 1-0, and then came the semi-final against Brazil. In Brazil, the host nation, the 5-time champions, the favourites, in their own country. July 8th, 2014. Mineirão Stadium, Belo Horizonte, Brazil. Germany versus Brazil. The semi-final. And what happened next was the most shocking match in World Cup history. Brazil was missing Neymar through injury and Thiago Silva through suspension. But they still had talent. They were still Brazil. They were still at home. The stadium was packed with Brazilians expecting their team to reach the final. And then Germany decided to destroy their dreams in the most brutal way imaginable. In the 11th minute, Thomas Müller scored. 1-0 Germany. Okay, Brazil could come back. But then in the 23rd minute, Miroslav Klose scored his 16th World Cup goal, breaking Ronaldo's all-time record. 2-0 Germany. Then the avalanche began. In the 24th minute, Toni Kroos scored. 3-0. In the 26th minute, Kroos scored again. 4-0. In the 29th minute, Sami Khedira scored. 5-0. 5 goals in 18 minutes. The Mineirão Stadium was in shock. Brazilians were crying. This wasn't just a loss, this was humiliation. Germany took their foot off the gas in the second half, Andre Schürrle scored 2 more to make it 7-0. Oscar got a late consolation for Brazil. Final score: Germany 7, Brazil 1. The greatest humiliation in World Cup history. Brazil was destroyed on their own soil. The German machine had shown no mercy. It was clinical, brutal, efficient, and absolutely ruthless. This is what Germany does. They don't just beat you, they demolish you. In the final, Germany faced Argentina at the Maracanã in Rio. The match was tight, tense, defensive. It went to extra time. And then in the 113th minute, substitute Mario Götze received a pass, controlled it with his chest, and volleyed home the winner. Germany 1, Argentina 0. World champions. Their 4th title. The first European team to win a World Cup in South America. Miroslav Klose retired as the all-time World Cup top scorer. Manuel Neuer won the Golden Glove. The machine had delivered. Germany was on top of the world. Russia, 2018. Germany arrived as defending champions and favourites. They had the core of the 2014 team. They had talent. They had experience. Everyone expected them to at least reach the semi-finals, maybe even defend the title and become the first team since Brazil in 1962 to win back-to-back World Cups. And then disaster struck. Germany started their tournament against Mexico. And Mexico shocked them 1-0. Okay, they could bounce back. But then they faced Sweden and barely scraped a 2-1 win thanks to a Toni Kroos free kick in the 95th minute. Then came the final group game. Against South Korea. Germany needed a win to advance. South Korea had already been eliminated. This should have been straightforward, but it became a nightmare. Germany dominated possession but couldn't score. They kept pushing forward, desperate for a goal. Then, in stoppage time, South Korea broke forward on a counter-attack and scored. Germany was losing to South Korea. They threw everyone forward, including Manuel Neuer, who went up for a corner. South Korea cleared the ball and scored into the empty net. 2-0. Final whistle. Germany was eliminated, in the group stage, as defending champions. For the first time since 1938, 80 years ago, Germany had failed to get past the first round of a World Cup. The shock was massive. How could the machine break down so completely? How could the defending champions crash out in the group stage? It was Germany's worst World Cup performance in modern history. Embarrassing, stunning, unthinkable. Qatar 2022. Hansi Flick was now the manager, and Germany was trying to rebuild after the 2018 disaster. They had young talent, Jamal Musiala, a teenager with incredible potential. But the team looked fragile. They started with a shock loss to Japan, blowing a 1-0 lead to lose 2-1. Then they beat Spain 1-1 draw. Wait, they drew 1-1 with Spain. Then in their final group game, they beat Costa Rica 4-2. But it wasn't enough. Spain lost to Japan, and Germany was eliminated on goal difference. 2 consecutive group stage exits. The machine was broken. German football was in crisis. The team that had reached 8 finals, that had won 4 titles, that had been the most consistent nation in World Cup history, couldn't even get out of the group stage. But if history has taught us anything, it's this. Germany doesn't stay down for long. They rebuild. They adapt. They come back stronger. So let's talk about Germany's World Cup legacy, because it's unmatched in terms of consistency. 4 World Cup titles: 1954, 1974, 1990, 2014. Only Brazil has more with 5. Germany is tied with Italy for second place. 8 World Cup finals, more than any other nation. They've been runners-up 4 times. They've been to more finals than Brazil, Argentina, Italy, or anyone else. 13 World Cup semi-finals. Again, more than anyone. Germany reaches the business end of tournaments like clockwork. 20 World Cup appearances. They've been to almost every single tournament since they returned after World War II. Miroslav Klose is the all-time World Cup top scorer with 16 goals. Gerd Müller is 4th with 14 goals. Germans score in World Cups. But beyond the numbers, Germany represents something unique in World Cup history. They represent consistency, efficiency, organisation, mental strength. When other teams crumble under pressure, Germany thrives. When other teams panic, Germany executes. Yes, they've had recent struggles, Yes, the 2018 and 2022 disasters hurt, but this is a nation that's bounced back from being banned from football after World War II to winning the World Cup 8 years later. This is a nation that's lost 4 finals and kept coming back. This is a machine. From Fritz Walter's Miracle in 1954 to Beckenbauer's elegance in the 70s. From Matthäus's leadership in 1990 to Klose's goals. From Neuer's goalkeeping to the 7-1 demolition of Brazil. Germany has given us some of the most iconic World Cup moments ever. They've been ruthless, they've been efficient, they've been controversial at times, but they've always been competitive. And that's what makes Germany special. So what's next for Germany? Can they bounce back from 2 consecutive group stage disasters? The answer is probably yes. They have young talent emerging. Jamal Musiala is only going to get better. They're rebuilding with a new generation. And if there's one thing we know about German football, it's that they always come back. The machine might have broken down temporarily, but it's being rebuilt. And when Germany is firing on all cylinders, they're as dangerous as anyone. Will they win in 2026 in North America? Can they claim a 5th star? Time will tell. But never ever count Germany out, because they've proven time and time again that they're World Cup royalty. 4 stars, 8 finals. The machine, Die Mannschaft. Whatever you call them, one thing is certain. Germany is World Cup football. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Germany's World Cup history, make sure you're subscribed because we're covering all 48 teams competing at the 2026 World Cup. Drop a comment below telling me your favourite Germany World Cup moment. Was it the Miracle of Bern in 1954? Beckenbauer's triumph in 1974? The 7-1 destruction of Brazil in 2014? Or maybe the shocking 2018 disaster? Let me know, and if you want to see more World Cup history, check out our videos on France, Argentina and Brazil. 3 other teams with incredible World Cup stories. Hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, keep living and breathing football. Peace.